That lawnmower. That's it. Start that. Jake Paul might be too big for him, or Tank might crack him. You don't know.
I made a post and basically told Roach. He tagged Lamar Roach and he said, "Look, you're not getting that fight with Tank."
A day in the life of Gervonta "Tank" Davis as he prepares for Jake Paul is pure focus and grind. Every session is built on sharpness, power, and speed. From conditioning drills to sparring, Tank stays locked in, disciplined, and determined. His workouts show one thing: he's ready for the challenge ahead, with no space for distractions. Rolando Romero brings a balanced view. He says Tank's legacy is already secure, no matter what happens against Jake Paul. As a world champion, Tank doesn't need this fight to prove himself. Still, Romero admits Jake's size is a real factor. Being naturally bigger gives him a physical edge. But it doesn't take away from the respect and accolades Tank has already earned.
Paul might be too big for him, but like Jake Paul might be too big for him, or Tank might crack him. You don't know. Like I said, or as an exhibition, we don't know if they throw at each other or not, or we don't know. I don't know. I can't give an opinion because I don't know what's going on.
Do you think it impacts, will it impact Tank's legacy if Jake Paul were to beat him or even knock him out?
Dude, Tank's a 3-division world champion, 4-time 3-division world champion. At the end of it, bro, you can't take anything away from him.
You know, some people trying to give, that's fair, some people trying to give Tank a hard time. They're saying he should have took a fight with Lamar Roach or Shakur Stevenson. But when you think about it, do you think this is business and look, he's getting a bag, or is there some validity to people saying that he ducked Roach?
I mean, there's still other options, you know. It's bro, you can't be mad at somebody for doing what they feel is best for them. It's the same way Roach feels Tank is the best option for him. Same way that Stevenson thinks Tank's the best option for him, or all that stuff, right?
Pauli Malignaggi points to the difference between size and experience. Sure, Jake Paul has grown in popularity and built up his frame, but Pauli insists experience always beats raw power. Tank has headlined major events, fought elite opponents, and sharpened his ring IQ at the highest level. No matter how big Jake is, he can't match Tank's years of training and adaptability.
I think Davis is more to lose because he's the bona fide world champion. I don't care if he's much smaller. I think Jake Paul has sort of plateaued as far as where his boxing is concerned. It's rather low level. Yeah. He's big, he's physical, he's strong, he can hit. So there is that risk. Davis, at lightweight, you're in a moment where it's too physical for you. You can clinch. Against the heavyweight, where you clinching? You ain't getting out of that corner just clinching anymore if you run out of space. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. But Davis, listen, there's a lot of talking points that I'm sure we'll get into when this gets closer to the fight. Davis can still punch at lightweight. Can he drop a heavyweight? There's a lot to gain there, right? If Davis knocks...
The answer is yes.
If Davis drops Jake on his ass, as much as Davis is the one with more to lose, it's still a highlight moment.
A visual that will stay forever.
Yeah. But if you get dropped, even if you're smaller, you're still a world champion, multiple weight classes. If you get dropped, what's the look? What's the feel? On the inside, as boxers, me and Chris Algieri, the champ, even you, Jimmy, you have fight experience, so we know that the risk is a big guy that big hits you. You're probably going down if you're a small guy, if he hits you clean. So we know the risk, but how does it look to the public eye who don't understand that? You know what I mean? The public. So there is a lot to lose, though. There's a bit to gain. I wouldn't necessarily have an issue with this had Davis's career arc been one that benefited boxing. Davis was manufactured and put into a position where he's supposed to benefit boxing, and I don't think he has. I think he's hurt boxing. So by giving him this reward, that's my problem. Why are we watching this? Why don't you make him earn his spot that he still hasn't earned, mind you?
Teofimo Lopez sees this fight more as spectacle than sport. In his eyes, it's not about legacy or rankings, it's about entertainment and money. Both Jake and Tank stand to make huge paydays, and that shouldn't be ignored. Lopez says while it's not a world title bout, it's still good for boxing because it brings in new fans and fresh attention to the sport.
Really invested on it, and I'm actually very happy for Gervonta and Jake. I really am, man. It's good for the sport in some way,
So a heavyweight versus a lightweight.
Yeah.
You got a fly hit me, yeah. A heavyweight versus a lightweight. How's this gonna work?
Hey, they make it work. It's an exhibition for a reason. So, you know, they know what they're doing. And, you know, shout out to Netflix and shout out to both of them, honestly. Like I said, I think a lot of people in the boxing world are kind of upset. I could care less. I think they're going to go out there and make their money. It falls on the number 8 for a reason. They're going to make a lot of money.
Have you got a prediction for that fight?
My prediction, a show. A show.
Well, clearly it's a show, but when you've got a lot of people underestimating Jake Paul once again, but when you've got a heavyweight boxer who knows how to throw punches and knows the basics against a lightweight, it's quite a difference. I mean, have you sparred heavyweights before?
Yeah.
For competitive sparring in the ring?
Yeah, it's not the same. It's not the same, not at all. Definitely got to move. I've actually played around a few times, went through between their legs just to duck around. But yeah, because they're taller, you know. But I think for that competition, that fight, it reminds me a lot like The Big Show, and Floyd Mayweather when they fought in WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And will that end the same way?
Possibly. Maybe some brass knuckles in there too.
Can you see Jake Paul knocking out Gervonta Davis?
It's boxing, man. And if it's a show like this, anything goes, anything happens.
Nate Diaz doesn't sugarcoat it. He dismisses the matchup as meaningless, saying it adds nothing to either fighter's career. For him, this isn't about competition, it's a show, more like pro wrestling than boxing. Diaz cuts through the hype, calling it a sideshow, not a legitimate fight.
I gotta ask you, Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis. Does Davis have a chance?
Gervonta is a great boxer, but he ain't gonna be.
So you got Jake Paul by knockout, or?
No, I don't got anybody, but I don't think.
He's just too small.
I don't want to beat up somebody that small. I don't want to, you know what I'm saying?
What do you think of the fight?
I don't want to lose to somebody that. There's no point in the fight. It's a great fight, actually.
You think
I'm
it's a
not
good
hating
fight?
on the fight, but I think. My thoughts on it is let's watch it and see what happens.
Ryan Garcia said that boxing's turning into WWE.
Yeah,
with that type of matchup. What do you agree? Last thing, White House card, like he said, you want Conor McGregor?
Yeah, but the whole thing's on WWE, so
right.
It's like, at least that's happening and it's getting something to talk about, something to watch, and I'm looking forward to that fight actually.
Jeff Mayweather shares similar skepticism. He questions why an established champion like Tank is even fighting a YouTuber turned boxer. Jeff admits boxing is a business, but to him, the matchup feels odd and unnecessary. His take reflects the confusion of many traditional fans when it comes to crossover fights like this.
It's kind of weird, because Jake Paul is extremely bigger than Tank. And I mean, but with it being a exhibition, it makes sense. It's fine. He got a big name that he's going to be fighting. But I mean, it really makes no sense because he's going to be weighing over 200 and some pounds. Tank's going to probably be weighing maybe at the most 147, 150. So I don't even understand why the fight is happening.
KSI, who knows the influencer boxing world firsthand, adds his perspective. He says rumors of Jake fighting Anthony Joshua were never real, they were just hype. And in his opinion, this fight with Tank is the same thing, part of Jake's strategy to build buzz, not chase real heavyweight competition. KSI's comments highlight how modern boxing promotions often lean more on spectacle than substance.
I knew AJ and Jake was never going to happen.
I didn't.
Really?
Yeah.
You thought it was actually going to happen? Bro, it's so crazy. Like, I feel like so many people just believe everything online.
But that's pretty unbelievable on the other hand.
I feel like I know. Well, okay, how do I say it like this? Itoma versus White. I had a lot of people bet on White winning. And I'm there like, you guys don't watch boxing, do you? You just look at a record and go, oh, Dylan's fought many more people than Itoma. That record says a lot. Itoma's like 18, not 18, Itoma's 20, inexperienced, one. Like, I just knew Itoma was gonna just destroy him. And I think a good fight for Itoma would be him and Wilder. I think that'd be a very good fight.
EJ Flores, Jake Paul's trainer, sees the fight differently. He believes Jake's true future is at cruiserweight and heavyweight, where his size belongs. But he says fighting Tank is a huge opportunity. It puts Jake in the ring with a world champion, boosting his profile even more. For Flores, this fight is a stepping stone that sets Jake up for bigger opponents down the road.
That's a funny story. So one of my good friends, Armani, he has been working with Jake Paul for the last 2 years. Oh. There was a little time where Shane wasn't there with Jake, and Armani called me up and said, "Hey, BJ, will you come down to Big Bear and spar with Jake?" And I'm like, "You want me to spar with Jake?" I'm thinking to myself, you know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, he's beating up all his sparring partners. We come, I was like, all right. I mean, fine, I'll go down there and do it. I have been inactive. I haven't done anything for like 8 months. But I was like, okay, I'll go down there. So we spar a couple times. After that, they decided I was too big for him. And, it's better if we just, not do it. And, then they asked me if I would be interested in like working the mitts with them and helping him with the combinations, because I was hitting him with some combinations they hadn't seen before. And I said, we can teach him all those things and have him doing all those things. And so I started working the mitts with him and helping him out on the mitts. And he told his trainers and everybody, they're like, "Man, I want BJ around for the entire camp, because I'm getting better." My job is like Shane does the advice in the corner and I do the mitts.
Respected journalist Gareth A. Davies has been very critical. He calls it a circus fight that puts spectacle before substance. He argues the mismatch in weight strips away fair competition and damages boxing's credibility. Davies warns that if fights like this become the norm, fans could lose faith in the sport's integrity. Still, he admits one thing: controversy sells, and that's exactly why this fight is generating so much buzz.
I think we've gone out of the frying pan and into the fire, because we thought we were going to get Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua very soon. We'll speak to Frank Smith about that in the next section, obviously. Eddie Hearn was teasing it to me personally last week. £80 million on the table for Anthony Joshua to fight Jake Paul. But 8 inches in height difference, 7 weight divisions between them, 5 stone, 70 pounds between them. It's a joke. It's a circus fight, as opposed to a disgrace of a fight, which was Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul. At least you feel in this you've got quite a poor, very big one against a pound-for-pound, brilliant, unbeaten little un. And the little un who'll come up to his navel will hit him with a lot of body shots. I said in the week to Danny Kelly and Charlie Brooker that... do I mean Charlie Brooker? No, Baker. Charlie Baker. That Charlie Brooker's a different person altogether. That... he'll be throwing the Superman punch, the leaping left hook. It's going to be a very odd thing. It's called, in inverted commas, an exhibition bout. But everybody in boxing who is a name doesn't mind going in with Jake Paul, because they know they're making millions of dollars. And that's the only reason that Gervonta Davis, who's being called the poison little elf by Jake Paul, and it'll be fun in the build-up. Everybody in boxing knows they're guaranteed to make millions of those silverbacks, those greenback notes that they give out in America, and they give them out for fun when Jake Paul fights. So he's not going to say no to it. But can you pick a winner in that fight?
I don't want
to. Vargas Jr. takes another angle, focusing on the surprise factor. He says the fight is exciting because nobody saw it coming. Fans love shock value, and this matchup delivers it. Whether good or bad, he believes the unpredictability makes it worth talking about.
The way we dress, or, this generation, as far as like fighters, they relate to more who's more popular. That's why we're seeing the Jake Paul versus Gervonta fight, which is, that's crazy to me, because we would never see that. And, back in my dad's day, but now we're getting this, and it's just like, fuck it. I mean, people are going to see it, bro. So it is what it is. But whether people know him more or not, or me, it doesn't matter. I know that he's coming, and he's coming game, and he wants to make a statement as well. So we're just coming to interrupt those plans. This is boxing, and, I'm so excited to demonstrate my skills. I could box, I could counterpunch, I could bang when I want to, and I'm going to demonstrate that. I'm going to do what I want to do in there come September 13th.
Yeah, we spoke about this a little bit earlier. But it's a 10-round fight. Could be a different pace of a fight. But what do you think is like the key for you to get this win, regardless if it's a knockout or if it goes all 10 rounds?
I think just be smart. Be in there, be smart, be first, and do what I do. I think I think if I try to do a little too much, like my dad says, when you try doing too much, it looks you're trying too hard. So only thing I got to do is just come in the best shape possible. If it goes 10 rounds, then it goes 10 rounds. You know, we're doing 12 rounds of sparring. So if it needs to go to 10 rounds, we'll have the gas tank to go. You know, I don't know if he's gone a full 10 rounds. You know, I haven't. So it'll be something for fight day. You know, if we do end up going the distance, then we end up going the distance.
Wade Plem argues Jake Paul has brought new life into boxing. He says Jake has attracted audiences who never cared about the sport, especially younger fans who prefer entertainment-driven matchups. While purists call these fights gimmicks, Wade sees them as part of boxing's evolution. In his view, this Tank fight keeps the momentum going, reaching mainstream fans and expanding boxing's cultural impact.
This man, that's the circus. If you want to join the circus, that's the circus. I don't see the value. I just see money involved in that. If they want the money, if that's what they want to do, then go ahead and go ahead and get the money. But other than that, I'm not. You got a guy, Jake Paul, that's what, 6'3", 6'4", almost. Then you got a guy, Gervonta Davis, that's like 5'5", a little guy. Yeah. Y'all gonna try to, who's 200 pounds, just for Mike Tyson there, I'm gonna throw him in there with a 135. It's just a circus, and that's what they want to do to get money, to generate money in the sport of boxing instead of Gervonta Davis. This is a legacy fight. He was supposed to fight Lamont Roach after this, and then he say, no. Think about it. You really can't say too much. When you say Gervonta Tank Davis and you say Lamont Roach.
For Jake Paul, the fight means massive exposure, credibility, and financial gain. Win or lose, analysts say it's a smart move to grow his brand and open new doors in the boxing world. But the ripple effect also touches other fighters. With Tank busy fighting Jake, a rematch with Lamont is off the table, for now. Still, analysts believe Lamont has plenty of other opportunities. This shows how a crossover fight like Jake versus Tank can reshuffle the boxing calendar, creating new challenges but also fresh openings.
Where does Lamont Roach Jr. go from here? I mean, he's got options. I mean, that young kid, Kamel Moton is calling him out. He ain't going to do that. He's only 19. Floyd's young fighter. He can wait for the winner of Abdullah Mason, Sam Noakes. I mean, Floyd Schofield's out. Options is what I'm trying to say. And then, look, does he want to go down a weight? Does he want to go down to super feather? Let's not forget, I think he's still a belt holder in that division. I mean, Shaki Foster's there. Stephen Fulton is now in the division. We saw Raymond Ford, on the weekend? Sorry, weekend. When was that fight? 2 weekends ago. So there are options out there for.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned. Until next.